Time for some more no frills, no shills. Friend, client, fellow competitive athlete, my man Smokes, my fellow Ginger Lives Matter advocate, asked me the other week on my thoughts for an elite powerlifting competition within South Africa, top 15 men and women competing, and what were my thoughts on it. So I did record an answer to Smokes' question yesterday, and I went back through and revised some of it as it kind of rambled a little bit. So here's a bit more of kind of my chain of thought with regards to an elite level powerlifting competition in SA. Definitely would love to see one. I will start by saying I did try to start putting together something like this last March, April time, but the people I spoke to shot it down straight away, wouldn't entertain the idea whatsoever. This was dealing with the owner of one of the biggest sporting franchises in South Africa. A lot of political BS in there, and I won't say any more than that, but there's other stuff behind the scenes that prevented it from happening, which I can't change. I did reach out to FIBO as well, but after numerous phone calls and emails, I never got a response back from them. So that kind of shut that down. And then there was my own prep going into nationals with all my athletes and myself, then world champs, some family stuff at home that kind of derailed a lot last year and a lot of this year. So I kind of put the thoughts on the back burner for putting together my own version of an elite powerlifting comp in SA. That's why I started buying the equipment for. So I've got my awesome calibrated plates from the UK. I've got my squat bar and my deadlift bar from Goliath in Australia. So my competition bench. I had a monolift ready to start getting made, but again, things just kind of didn't go to plan, so I stopped that. Now, in the past, there has been a comp like this in SA, which was Elite Raw, and I've been checking around. I think it was around 2016, and by all accounts was an awesome competition, and that was run by Dan Hurlin at the time at Tristan O'Brien's nightclub. I think was it Madison Avenue or something like that. Can't remember. And I think there was top 6 females and males competing against each other, best total wins, and I'm not sure why it never kind of grew from there. So there's definitely potential for it. I think there are a few issues that South Africa faces around it. We take COVID-19 out of the issue. Politics within powerlifting within South Africa is rife. I know there's politics within all sports, but in such a small sport like powerlifting is in South Africa, it's a shame that there is so much politics involved and chopping and changing and backbiting and whatnot, but that is what it is. So to get people to come together for the same kind of cause and putting politics and federations aside is it's doable, but it's probably not there right now. I think the other side to things is the expectation level versus reality. If we look at competitions like Pro Raw in Australia, Big Dogs, Wildcats, and then Kern in the US, these are big events that have been built up over 10 years or so now. Chatting with Marcos, who runs PTC in Australia and the Big Dogs Pro Raw comps, he's given me a lot of information on how he does his comps, the behind the scenes stuff, and basically left the door open for me to chat to him anytime I want in terms of getting input on that side. So you've got these kind of massive comps like that there, scaled to what they've grown to, and to have that in SA right now, there's just not all the pieces to make that happen right now. So it's like when I went to Arnold's Africa a couple of years ago. You know, you've got this Arnold's, you know, one of the biggest sporting franchises around, and you know, you see what it is in the US, and then you go to the one here in Africa, and it's fucking shit. It was crap. In fact, I know several people who went up for the weekend and didn't bother staying for the weekend. They went back the same day. That's how bad people thought it was. But again, that's the expectation versus reality. It takes time for these things to grow. So you've got that side of it. The other side is the cost implications. These competitions are expensive to put together. And again, Channing Marcos, he does not and still doesn't make any money from his comps. On some of his competitions, he loses money, and that's something that needs to be equated for here in SA. This kind of competition can't be looked at as a way to generate revenue. It needs to either pay for itself and break even, or be factored in that there might be a loss involved. And you look at the bigger picture in that it'll bring more people into the sport of powerlifting, which will eventually, you know, show through in more people competing, more competitions, better competition in general, and you grow it organically that way. And I know I've expressed my displeasure at a lack of that happening in SA already. I mean, I've run a few comps and we've broken even at every single comp. We've not tried to make money, we've kept entry fees low, and that's the way it's been done. So you have got that side to it. I think the talent pool in SA is definitely deep enough to have 2, maybe 3 weight classes in the female category, and maybe 3 to 5 weight classes in the male categories. Maybe not even as deep as that. 2-hour weigh-in. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. We can, you know, replicate what Pro Raw does. Calibrated plates, monolift, 2-hour weigh-in, biggest total wins for each category. That's it. Prize money up for grabs, get some sponsors involved, which again is another hard part. Finding a good venue for it. From what I understand, Madison Avenue with Tristan's Club was an epic venue in terms of the atmosphere that was built, but I don't know the size of it. WPC's Nationals last year I think the year before that at the church in Pretoria, can't remember the name of it. Surprised I didn't spontaneously combust on entry going to a fucking church, but it was a great venue. Lights, DJs, great platform. Platform management was epic. The best I've probably been to, next to probably Worlds at Finland last November. And then again, on top of that, you've got to also look at the equipment. You have to have enough quality equipment for these guys and girls to warm up with, especially, you know, given that, you know, you want them to perform at your best, so you actually need calibrated plates in the warm-up area, you need the right bars in the warm-up area, you need monoliths in the warm-up area, competition benches, so you need probably 2 or 3 of everything in the warm-up area, and then again the same on the stage, which would require the pooling of resources from multiple people. And a venue that could handle that side piece as well. So these are all the factors that come into it. I think another attitude I've come across in SA, and it's probably like this worldwide as well, but I've only competed, you know, really locally other than my 2 world champs, is people willing to put it on the line, best against the best. So many people duck competition, you know, best gym lifts and whatnot, or they'll compete in a certain category because there's, you know, little or no real competition for them in there, rather than going head to head, which is what this competition would be. You know, somebody said to me last year already about me going to Worlds. I was only going because I was competing in the Masters category, and it's easier there, whereas the Open category is the beasts, and, you know, they wouldn't be able to compete against them. Well, no, fuck. I wasn't a master then, close but not quite. I went and competed in the Open and I placed 4th and only just missed out on 3rd. Okay, This year, in July, in a few weeks, I turn 40. I will then officially be a master, but guess what? I will still be competing in the Open, because whether I get on the podium or not, or challenge for the win, yeah, I'd love it. But I want to be up against the best. I want to see my best, and being up against the best is how you do that. And I've seen a lot of people in SA ducking that kind of competition. And so maybe some money on the line would help that, some prize money. Maybe getting enough people invested and interested will help generate some hype. But yeah, so all in all, I think it's got great potential. I'd love to see it. I'd love to be involved in it somehow, whether it's coordinating or, I'm not strong enough to compete just yet in that kind of field, but it's something I do want to get to compete in. I think with the right people behind it, it could definitely grow. And there's no reason why down the line you couldn't get international lifters involved as well. Okay, the prize money might not be the same, but most international lifters coming over from the US, UK, Oz, etc., they got strong currencies. They can afford to come here, they can live like kings and queens while they're here and have a fucking awesome holiday at the same time, and then be part of an epic competition as well. So whilst we might not be able to provide some aspects of what the prize money side, no reason why you couldn't provide the competition and epic venue, epic vibe, and an epic country to do it in. I myself say I'd love to be involved. One of the reasons I probably won't be doing it myself now is that I do intend to be moving back to the UK either later this year or some point next year. So for me to kind of start something and then leave the country is not a smart move, but there are people here who I think could, really, take it up a level. But as I say, it will require multiple factors coming together, people pooling their resources, and the competition coming together with people wanting to compete and put it on the line, and then getting spectators involved and getting spectators to also pay to be there as well, to help generate that extra bit of revenue for prize giving and these kind of things. So there's probably my thoughts on elite level powerlifting comp. Top 15 female, top 15 male, and biggest total for each category wins. I think it's got great potential. I'd love to see it happen. I'd definitely pay to go and see it. I'd like to be involved in it, and I'd love to have some of my own athletes compete in it as well. I've got some I think who could compete in it. Let's see. I'm game, so if people are interested in getting something going like this, let me know. I'll be happy to put my equipment up for it as well. Let's see what happens.